welcome to day 2 of our Build Balanced Momentum program. If you don't remember me from yesterday, I am Chelsea Lundeen, your instructor. Today's pose will be upward facing dog. So we kind of got a sneak peek of it yesterday, but we're going to dive into the pose and its proper form and a few other things a little more in this class today, incorporating it into our flow. So let's get started. We're going to start today in child's pose again. So about 3/4 of the way down our mat, we're going to bring our big toes together. Don't mind Baxter, he's kind of obnoxious. We're going to bring our big toes together, knees wide, and we're just going to walk ourselves down and rest our frontal lobes on our mat. So we're just going to take a moment today to once again connect with our breath. So take a few deep breaths here and clear your mind as we settle into this practice. Again, we're not necessarily trying to control our breath. We simply want to observe it, being a little more conscious of our natural rhythms. So we can kind of sync our movements with our breath. On your next inhale, I'd like you to come up into tabletop posture. So slowly lift your head, rise up, lifting your bum, and taking your wrists just under your shoulders, bringing your knees in just a bit so that they are under your hips, and coming into tabletop. So this is supposed to be an active pose. So by that I mean we don't want to just sit here, not engaged in this posture. We want to think about pushing the mat away from us, engaging our core here, so really feel like you're engaging, squeezing those abs, and even have your, think about having your quads and your thighs nice and strong. And we're going to just do some slight pelvic rolls here, so kind of roll your hips back and forth. Think about rounding out the back, the lower back just a bit. So as you puff through the lower back, maybe exhale. We want to think about blending these movements with our natural breath. So just kind of go at your own pace here, breathing through the posture. And then let's take it to the other side. Switch positions. So it's like a modified cat-cow, only with our hips. Good. Now I want you to kind of bring your knees in just a bit, and we're going to come into a nice kneeling posture. We're going to put our hands on our knees, and we're going to do a kneeling cat-cow. So on your inhale, I want you to widen your chest, pulling your chest up. Gaze high. And on your exhale, rounding out the upper back, sinking your chin to your chest. Inhale. Straightening out that spine, opening up the chest. And exhale, round out the shoulders. Tucking the chin. We'll do one more here. Inhale. Exhale as we round. Coming back to neutral spine. I want you to inhale your arms up and over as you come up into high kneeling. And we're going to do a nice full body stretch here. So think about lifting up your whole body to the ceiling, pulling those arms up high. And as you do this, I want you to think about keeping your whole body engaged and now just dropping the shoulders as you exhale. Inhale. Arms up. So your arms are still up. We're just moving the position of our shoulders. Exhale, think about sinking them down. Inhale, arms up. And then this time on your exhale, I want you to drop your left hand to your hamstrings. Think about keeping those hips still over your knees. And let's just do a nice, just a slight back bend as we pull our right hand up and kind of towards the back. So this is just a very slight beginner's back bend here. It's almost like a camel modification. You can keep your gaze toward the ceiling. You can gaze toward your toes, although that might be a bit difficult, or you can keep your gaze kind of forward. Good, inhale, release and come, bring that arm back up. Stretch to the ceiling, exhale, let's lower our right hand to our hamstring. Kind of open up the chest here, pulling that left arm back. Nice slight back bend. If this is uncomfortable, you may also just kind of modify by bringing your hand out, but not really too much of a bend in the lower back. Good. Feel the stretch here. Let's rise back up. Good. And then let's lower it back down. Now we're going to place our hands on the mat. Kind of come back up into tabletop. Let's bring our feet back and come into high plank. Good. Get comfortable in this pose, pushing the mat away, arm or our fingers nice and wide. And let's put a slight bend in our knees. Pop those hips, and let's push our tailbone back and come into downward facing dog. So kind of work your positioning to get comfortable here. Again, hands nice and wide, slightly outturned. We're not trying to touch our heels to the mat. It's completely okay to get that nice bend in there. Again, we want to think about lengthening the spine in this pose, and also not dumping our weight into our wrists, but more pushing that weight back towards our hips to kind of relieve the pressure on our upper body in this pose. So if you can, straighten those knees. If not, just rest with them a bit. Good. Couple of deep breaths here. And your next inhale, I want you to kind of come up onto your toes and lower those knees down to the mat. Good. We're going to kind of wrap our elbows in towards the body, and let's lower our chest down to the mat. So deep inhale here, and exhale. Lower ourselves down to the mat, completely resting our body on the mat. Now let's flip our toes down so that they're on the mat, and think about actively pushing those toes into the mat as we use our shoulders to kind of pull ourselves back away from the mat, and then use our hands to press ourselves up, 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 straightening those elbows, even slightly bringing our feet in if we need to, and coming up into upward facing dog. So again, our knees are lifted, but if this is too uncomfortable, you can gently rest them on the mat as well. Again, keeping those toes engaged, keeping those quads engaged. We want to think about this as an active pose. So opening up the shoulders, opening up the chest, and we don't want to dump our neck as we gaze up. We want to kind of either bring our gaze forward or slightly towards like the corner of the room. We don't want to be straining the neck in here. So if you can, lift those knees and gaze high. Few deep breaths here. Now let's drop our knees. Let's slowly lower back down to the mat. Rest here a moment. Let's push ourselves back up and come into downward facing dog once again. So hips back. Hair all over myself. Deep breaths here. Now let's just tiptoe our feet to the front of the mat. If you can't quite tiptoe, you can simply lunge them up or help your foot up. but I always like the good old tiptoe. It's just kind of fun. You can keep your knees bent if you want. We're gonna come into a forward fold here. So whatever that looks like for you, you can put a nice generous bend in your knees if you'd like. We want to think about pulling our chest and our abdomen in towards our thighs here. So if you can't quite do it with straight knees, feel free to bend those knees. Hands just outside of our feet, and then maybe I like to put them above my feet or ahead of my feet. And we're gonna do a halfway lift here. So inhale, I want you to straighten out your spine and kind of straighten out those legs if you can, still keeping that micro bend in, and placing your hands either on your shins or your thighs. But we really normally keep them on my shins. We want to just kind of lengthen the spine here. And then exhale back into a forward fold. Good. Keeping that micro bend in the knees. Let's kind of rise up to standing. So rolling up. Think about rolling up vertebrae by vertebrae. Keeping that chin tucked as we come into mountain pose. So feel your feet hip distance apart, and just open your palms up wide. And feel as if you're grounding, as if you're growing roots through your feet and into your mat. Connecting with our breath here in a moment. I like to close my eyes. This moment. Alright, inhale. Arms up, nice and wide. Top gaze high. Exhale, let's bend our elbows and come into a cactus arms. I like to widen out my fingers here. Squeezing those shoulder blades together. Exhale, arms up. Inhale, elbows wide. Just keeping your gaze high here. Exhale, arms up. Now let's clasp our hands together like we're forming a pistol, so our pointer fingers together and our thumbs together. And let's do a lateral stretch, so a side bend to our left. So keeping those hips kind of in the same position, we're simply bending through that side body, getting a nice stretch through the right side. So kind of like this. Now I want you to take, or like do some like neck rolls. So say, like you're saying no to someone, I want you to just roll your neck back and forth. This always feels so good. Now pause as your chin gets to your shoulder. Feeling that nice stretch through the side body and the neck. Now inhale, rise back up to standing. And exhale, fold to the other side. Breathing through the posture here. Let's add in some of those neck rolls. Pause as your chin gets to your shoulder. Smell those armpits, yeah. Oh, feel a nice stretch. And inhale it back up. I want you to take your arms out wide and let's clasp our hands behind our backs here. We had a nice upper body workout today, so we're kind of stretching out that upper body. We're gonna open up our shoulders, so feel like you're squeezing your shoulder blades together, rounding out the lower back so you're finding hollowness in the back. And stretch your arms down, bringing your gaze high here. Yes. Good, kind of bring your spine back up to neutral. And let's bring it back into our forward fold, keeping our hands clasped behind our backs. Again, nice micro bend in the knees here, whatever you need to bring your chest to your knees, or to your thighs. And let's pull those arms up. So bring your gaze in between your legs. Your knees can be straight if that's comfortable for you as well. And let's
pull our arms over, almost like it's going above our heads here. Get that nice shoulder opener. Good. And release our hands to the mat. Let's step back into high plank. And roll as we come onto our knees once again. We're going to do some nice spinal stretches here. So we're just going to sit back on our bums. Keep that left foot in kind of towards your right sit bone. We're going to bring our right leg over to the outside of our left thigh. We're going to put our right hand about 6 inches out and back. We're going to swoop our left hand up and over, bringing that left elbow on the outside of our right knee. And we're going to pull, use our right shoulder to kind of pull us over to that side, bringing our gaze over our right shoulder. We are not trying to crack any bones here. We are simply feeling a nice stretch. So I encourage you to not try to crack your back in this position. Just feel the nice spinal stretch here. Breathe through the posture. Good, and release. We're going to bring our right foot down with our left sit bones and bring our left foot to the outside of our right thigh. Left hand about 6 inches out back. Swoop the right arm over to the outside of the left knee. And let's open up here. Gaze to the outside of the left shoulder. Spine nice and long. Breathe through the posture here. You can even try to get a little deeper in your spinal twist. And with every exhale. But if this is bothering you, you can simply also get a nice knee hug here. So if the twists are bothering your back too much, simply just kind of hug your knee. You'll feel it more in your hip when you do that. And that's okay too. We want these to be comfortable for you, so if there, for any reason, any of these poses or twists are uncomfortable, feel free to rest in child's pose or even downward facing dog, or modify to what feels good for you. All right, and release. And we're just gonna come into a pretzel leg here. If you need, kind of put a towel under your bum, that is okay too. I'm just gonna face you. And we just wanna reconnect with our breath here. So feel free to close your eyes. Get our spine long, sitting high on our sit bones. Palms gripping our knees. Deep inhale here. And let's audibly exhale it out. One more deep inhale. And an audible exhale out. Now let's return to just our natural rhythms. Thank you so much for practicing with me today as we learned upward facing dog. I hope you enjoyed this practice. Let's bring our arms up. Inhale. Palms together. Drop them down to our chest. I look forward to practicing with you tomorrow.